This is Tina Peters. If you're unfamiliar, she famously assisted in the election hack attempt in 2020. She was a county clerk and she went to prison for 8 years. I want to do a little bit of a throwback and just listen to her trial again, her sentencing, because it was so entertaining. The judge tore her to shreds. Oh my God. This is her mugshot, by the way. Anyway, she's a county clerk. She basically gave hackers her credentials to access the voters' private information, their addresses, their names, their everything. And they accessed it. They get this big list of voters, and they gave it to Mike Lindell, who then disseminated the list as a list of quote unquote dead voters. So BBC goes around and they start knocking on doors and they say, "Are you John Smith?" The dude says yes. And they say, "You're on this list of dead voters. Did you vote in the 2020 election?" Dude's like, "Yep, I voted. I was at this precinct," or whatever. She's sentenced to 8 years for her crimes. And best of all, this is her most recent mugshot, she can't be pardoned by Trump because it's a state level charge that she was sentenced to, not a federal charge. And they can only pardon federal charges. Donald Trump can. So I want to listen to Tina Peters' trial, just like part of it, because it's so entertaining, dude. Oh my God. The whole thing was 41 minutes, but I'm playing a shorter version of it. This is the judge sentencing her.
You are no hero. You abused your position, and you're a charlatan who used and is still using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven to be junk time and time again. Your lies are well documented, and these convictions are serious.
And even up to this moment, as you'll probably see in a minute, she still did not take this seriously. She still believed she was going to get out of this. This is Tina Peters being arrested, if you haven't seen it. This is this is 2022 originally when this happened. I think she sees the camera here, right?
Let go of me! Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Let go of me. Look. It hurts. Let go of me. Give me my key. Oh.
He's kicking at the dude. That blows me away. Seriously.
Stop it.
Sorry.
No, let go of me. Yes, you are, Caleb. Give me my key to my car. Give me my key to my car.
I don't know if you guys noticed, she called him by his first name. She knows these people. These people are arresting her, and she's trying to, I don't know, get sympathy or something like that by calling them by their first name. You are hurting me, Caleb. Come on, Caleb.
Using her position and her kind of personal connection to them to influence the outcome. Like typical MAGA, right? Convinced that she can do whatever she wants and there will be no consequences ever.
Give me my key to my car. Give it to me. Give me my key.
Step outside for you.
Take my purse.
Anyway, yeah, that was the arrest video. So let's talk about Tina Peters.
I'm convinced you would do it all over again if you could. You're as defiant as a defendant as this court has ever seen. All right, we're here today for sentencing in Miss Peters' case. Before I get into my comments, I'll enter judgment of conviction consistent with the jury's verdicts as to counts 1, 2.
It says the former Mesa County clerk was sentenced by Judge Matthew Barrett on Thursday.
4, 6.
Peters was convicted of leading a scheme to breach voting system data in her county.
8, 9, and 10. As it relates to fines, fees, and costs, a $2,000 fine will be ordered as to counts 1, 2, 4, 6. As to counts 8, the maximum fine will be imposed. Counts 9 and 10, $1,000 fines will be imposed. You retain the right to ask me to reconsider any sentence I impose under Rule 35B. You have the right to appeal any sentence I impose. If you want to end this judgments of conviction, if you wish to do that, you need to do it within 49 days of today's date.
It's super difficult to appeal a jury trial that you lost. And appeal windows are closed now for her. Like it's over. She's going to spend the next, when did this come out? This is 2024, October 2024. She's going to spend the next 8 years in prison, unless she gets like early release for good behavior, parole or something. We'll see if that happens.
The protection orders will remain in place during the life of this sentence. Conditions 6 and 7 are vacated. However, you can ask your lawyer what that means. If you are ever sentenced or today sentenced to the Department of Corrections, then I'm required to inform you that the time I actually imposed or that may be imposed is not the amount of time you are likely to serve. It can be and very likely will be reduced by your accrual of good time and earned time credits within the department.
There you go. She already spent some time in there too, so.
Meaning that the better you do in prison, the more programming you take advantage of, the sooner you'll be released. I want to circle back to the request from earlier today in terms of the motion for a new trial based on a Brady violation. To the extent I needed to make findings on that.
Wait, Brady violation. Hold on. Peter's defense filed a motion for a new trial based on an alleged Brady violation. The claim involved an arrest warrant related to an incident on June 25th when Peters went to the ballot box location near the clerk and recorder's office. The defense argued that information about this incident involving a witness named Brandy Bantz, who alerted law enforcement, should have been disclosed. Oh, I see. The defense requested this information from the police department, but was told it was part of an ongoing investigation. Totally understandable. She's close friends with a lot of big media personalities, not limited to Mike Lindell and Steve Bannon, and was threatening people involved in the case and, stalking and harassing them and stuff and causing all kinds of problems for everybody, including the judge. So it totally makes sense they'd want to protect people's names, certainly for the duration of the trial. The DA said they didn't have the information, but would turn it over later when they got it, but didn't do so. The arrest warrant was apparently drafted after the trial occurred. Okay.
Today, I'll note that 1, the motion could have been filed weeks ago. 2, the information generally was known to the defense prior to trial, perhaps not the specifics, but enough to have at least mustered some questioning of witnesses at trial.
Yeah, the bottom line, the judge rejected the Brady claim. The motion could have been filed weeks earlier. The information was generally known to the defense prior to the trial anyway. And most importantly, Barrett said there was quite literally nothing in the arrest warrant or Bantz's statements that would be considered favorable or exculpatory to Peters. So it was completely irrelevant. She's just trying to get the person's name so she could harass them through Lindell and Steve Bannon.
To promoting the acceptance of responsibility. That doesn't mean that a defendant has to take responsibility. To the contrary, Ms. Peters has exercised her right to a jury trial. She's exercised her right to hold the people to their burden, and such cannot and will not be used by this court as a means by which or justification by which to punish her, but rather the sentence itself is to promote the responsibility acceptance, not to ensure that someone takes responsibility. However, once they've chosen to exercise their right to go to trial.
So instead of taking a plea deal, she decided to go all the way to trial, jury trial. And that's okay. That's understandable. Some people want to do that. But she was dragging her feet on a pretty clear-cut case.
If she had settled or taken a plea deal, would it have changed her sentence? Would it?
This is a criminal trial, so it would have been a plea deal. Settlement, I said that earlier. I should have said plea deal. Settlement is for civil trials, but yeah, she probably would have gotten a much lighter sentence. Maybe not spent any time in jail. Maybe spent a year in jail, maybe 2. I don't know. It depends on what kind of deals she can work out with the prosecutor. But choosing to go all the way to trial is kind of like a coin toss. You have a pretty solid case, you may win. And if you're acquitted, you won't spend any time. You'll be, you're out of it completely.
Also, it would have...
But hang on. But if you don't, then you're going away for the rest of your life, basically. That's the bargain.
Also, it would have looked bad for her to, because if she just accepts a plea deal or whatever, then she's admitting that she was in the wrong and stuff. That likely would have looked bad for press than if she had gone here and got acquitted.
Yeah. Plea deals necessitate, part of the deal is, as far as I'm aware, you have to allocute your crimes in front of the judge. You have to tell the judge what you did, why you did it, and how, and everything else.
Yeah.
And at that point, the judge has the choice of sentencing you to whatever. They don't have to follow the plea agreement if they don't want to. They usually follow plea agreements, but they, once you allocute, it's over. Like your life is in the hands of the judge.
But to get to the point of what it is that you did here, it's my impression distinctly that you never took your job of clerking particularly seriously. You didn't complete the certification. One scandal after another followed you in your time as the clerk.
I understand that she didn't even go into the office very often. She stayed at home like most of the time.
And ultimately, it was a belief that the echo chamber in which you live couldn't be wrong, among other things, that led you to do what you did here. This thought process, unfortunately, seems to consume so many in our country, regardless of race, gender, political affiliation, or the like.
Sorry, it's just unacceptable to violate the law so flagrantly. I don't care what reason you have for doing it. You can't do that. For the record, a county clerk is a public official responsible for maintaining records for a county. Their responsibilities may include handling marriage licenses and deeds, collecting campaign finance information from local candidates, and administering elections. The clerk serves as the chief elections officer responsible for conducting the official canvass of votes, issuing certificates of election to all candidates, and certifying election results to the Secretary of State. So her role was incredibly important. She was in a very important area, too. She was in an area of Colorado, I think Maricopa County, I believe, that was subject to insane political propaganda and lies and massive focus in the election. So she was like the worst person to be positioned where she was.
It is we hear and think can't possibly be wrong. There are many things in my mind that are crystal clear about this case. You are no hero, you abused your position, and you're a charlatan who used and is still using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven to be junk time and time again.
Ouch, that's rough.
In your world, it's all about you. But at bottom, this case was about your corrupt conduct and how no one is above the law. No one in this country has absolute power. Your position as a clerk and recorder, a constitutional position, does not provide you with a means by which to do your own investigation, to not listen to the judiciary, to not listen to the executives higher than you, to not listen to the legislature who sets the law as it may be. This is nonsense. Our system of government can't function when people in government think that somehow, some way, the power they've been given is absolute in all respects.
As Tina Peters thought, and as Donald Trump currently thinks.
That's where you fell. You have no respect for the checks and balances of government. You have no respect for this court. You have no respect for law enforcement. And you do not have respect for your fellow colleagues when you were a clerk and recorder who weren't lockstep in your beliefs. Period. Indeed, just weeks before trial, you were apparently doing what I mentioned earlier, that is, over at the clerk and recorder's office where you're not supposed to be, violating the protection order by speaking to employees of that entity with your camera crew in tow.
So she was ordered not to go near the office again after being formally charged and I think even convicted. She was ordered not to go anywhere near there. And she showed up with her camera crew and made a big scene. What an incredibly entitled scumbag. I'm so glad she's spending 9 years in prison for the protection of society. Emily Sigmund, I think her ego and sense of entitlement kept her from taking the plea deal. That's very possible. It's clear as day she's got a massive ego.
Someone quoted the with your camera crew in tow. Why does she have a camera crew?
Because she wanted to start a scene. That's it.
Where did she get them from? She's just like, all right, guys, all right, news reporters, I'm now gonna go do something illegal.
Yeah, she, like I said, she knows Steve Bannon. And do you know Bannon?
No.
He is basically like a propaganda chief for Donald Trump. He's insane. You know the Turner Diaries? I don't
Yeah.
remember if I've told you about that book.
Yeah.
That's one of his favorite books.
Really?
Yeah. He is evil. He was in Trump's first administration, and I think that his personality clashed too much with Donald Trump for them to keep him for number 2. He left after like a year of being in the administration, not on good terms either. But now they're on okay terms. Here you go. This is Steve Bannon giving a Nazi salute.
Here's why we're doing this today. You know, this great celebration of kind of American populism and nationalism. We have friends all over the world. This is a movement that is a global movement. We just won a massive victory here, and we're winning all over the world, right? Yeah. The next stop is Germany. Alternative for Deutschland. Can I have the Alternative for Deutschland people stand up? We want to give a shout out to you guys. All right. All right.
So I know you're thinking, okay, well, that's a little bit of a stretch. This is literally immediately after Elon Musk did his Nazi salute. And there's this massive uproar over the fact that Elon Musk did a full Nazi salute. And he called for the Nazi party in Germany, the Alternative for Deutschland, AfD, to stand up.
Can I have the Alternative for Deutschland people stand up? We want to give a shout out to you guys.
Nazi salute.
All right.
I wasn't looking at the screen, and I like looked back over and saw that. Says reading chat.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. Anyway, yeah. So that's Steve Bannon. He's done a lot of other really evil, terrible, disgusting stuff, dude.
Someone asked, hasn't Trump pardoned her yet? He cannot, because this is a state level offense, right?
Yep, that's right. Can't pardon her. I love it.
By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
You have no qualms with violating the court's orders because you're innocent, because you didn't do anything wrong. You were just doing your job. You have no problem trying to kick an officer. Your explanation about what happened is preposterous. It's on video. You have no problem lying to officers. It's happened multiple times. They're recorded conversations. It's just more lies.
I was curious, what was her explanation for why she kicked at the officer? Officers we just watched were serving a search warrant for Peters at a bagel shop in Grand Junction. Peters and the others were passing the iPad around between patrons, playing keep away with the device. When officers tried to detain Peters for obstructing them, she kicked at an officer as they were handcuffing her, striking the officer's taser and magazine pouch on his belt. Body cam footage captured officers yelling at Peters, "Do not kick. Do you understand?" Right. We just saw that. So her legal defense fund claimed it was the officers who used excessive force and went beyond the bounds of their warrant. They stated that officers handcuffed Peters and wrestled her car keys away from her. Okay. We watched it happen. Come on. Causing bruises and contusions, she says, and injuries to her wrists and arms. What?
Bruises and contusions.
Yeah.
She was, she screamed, "You're hurting me, you're hurting me." I'm willing to bet she knew that if she screamed that, it would build a stronger defense, whether or not they were actually hurting her.
Oh, I'm sure. She
screamed that and then kicked.
She's MAGA. She's always thinking about what's best for her and how she can come out on top. That is the MAGA way. That's one of the worst things about Donald Trump winning and becoming so notable in the public consciousness, that he completely eroded respect and honesty and just being a good person genuinely. He eroded it and erased it completely to a disgusting degree. Anyway, she said it caused bruises and contusions and injuries to her wrists and arms and characterized it as manhandling. I'm sorry you can't handle being arrested like, the impoverished and less fortunate in your district, but don't commit crimes if you don't want to be arrested. Don't play
keep away.
Yeah, don't play keep away with an iPad that they have a search warrant for if you don't want to be arrested.
I was also thinking, the people of color, not just in her area, but around America as a general, they have that all the time for far less stuff, without warrants, without whatever. They're constantly being arrested
And
like
hassled.
that and hassled.
Yeah.
And she's sitting here claiming excessive force because they handcuffed her.
It's disgusting. She's a disgusting person.
But she doesn't care when it's someone who hasn't done anything wrong. She knows she did something wrong. She knows that she wouldn't be in this situation had she been fully in the right.
Anyway, let's listen to his takedown again.
You have no qualms with violating the court's orders because you're innocent, because you didn't do anything wrong. You were just doing your job.
Clip it, ship it, send it out to everybody. Judge says she was just doing her job. She was innocent.
Mm-hmm.
You have no problem trying to kick an officer. Your explanation about what happened is preposterous. It's on video. You have no problem lying to officers. It's happened multiple times. They're recorded conversations. It's just more lies. No objective person believes them. No, at the end of the day, you cared about the jets, the podcasts, and the people fawning over you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mike Lindell flew her around in his private jet. Flew her to the Capitol on January 6th, for example.
Really?
Uh-huh. There's video of it. Oh, there's
doesn't
this
surprise
whole
me.
rabbit hole. I would love to go down the rabbit hole again, but time, you know.
Yeah.
Just check it out if you want to see the video on it. Tina Peters, just watch a bunch of stuff. I covered this every step of the way. It's so good.
You abdicated your position as a servant to the Constitution, and you chose you over all else. Yes, you are a charlatan, and you cannot help but lie as easy it is for you to breathe. You betrayed your oath for no one other than you. And this is what makes Miss Peters such a danger to our community. It's the position she held that has provided her the pulpit from which she can preach these lies.
The pulpit. That's a fascinating way to put it, right?
The undermining of our democratic process, the undermining of the belief and confidence in our election systems. It's not about questioning it. No one says you can't question, you can't ask. It's completely different. And if you don't understand I can say or do here today, that will change your mind.
Looks like there was a cut in the video. That's weird.
So the damage that is caused.
Oh, yeah, this is not the original. The original is like 45 minutes long. Again, I covered the entire thing on my channel previously. Maybe on my Owen Unfiltered channel.
The cut was actually the judge saying she's innocent, hasn't done anything wrong, and then
Right.
sent to his car.
Right, exactly. If they just hadn't cut it out, those dishonest press people, right?
Yeah, right.
that continue to be caused is just as bad, if not worse, than the physical violence that this court sees on an all too regular basis. And it's particularly damaging when those words come from someone who holds a position of influence like you. Every effort to undermine the integrity of our elections and public's trust in our institutions has been made by you. You've done it from that lectern the voting public provided you with. Everything you've done has been done to retain control, influence. The damage is immeasurable. And every time it gets refuted, every time it's shown to be false, just another tale is weaved.
Dude, I wonder, did this judge like write this whole speech the night before? Is that what happened? This is a long speech that he's going through, like just tearing her to shreds.
You think
so
it's an
good.
on-the-spot thing? Like, he didn't plan this. He was just so overcome by hatred for everything that happened through her.
I wonder, I don't think it's on the spot. I think he did at least write an outline.
Yeah, if it was on the spot, he'd be stuttering more, I believe.
So I'll begin by saying I've considered all of those purposes of staying of an execution of a sentence. I've mentioned all of them here generally in my comments already, and I find that a stay of any sentence I impose would be wholly unwarranted.
I'm not going to let you get out of this. You're going to have to pay the price.
All cases have a possibility of reversal on appeal, no doubt. I'm at peace with all of the decisions I've made here. If anything, I gave you and your counsel far too much leeway at times, but the rulings I made came after much consideration, incredible amounts of internal debate, and I trust in accordance with the applicable law. I consider the sentence here, in this case, what are available to me. Probation. Community corrections wasn't requested, but it wouldn't be an option in any event.
Talking about, I think, community service, like going around picking up trash.
And an incarcerative sentence to the Department of Corrections. Probation's focus is rehabilitation. That is, for folks who have minimal criminal histories, low LSI scores like you, Ms. Peters, but where punishment isn't really on the table. It's about putting someone back in the community who's not a risk and giving them a chance to correct those things that brought them before me in the first place. Community corrections, which again isn't available, but nevertheless I'll mention, is another option that I could still order. It's much more stringent than probation, but it's not prison. And it's for folks who have even higher needs. Again, drug addicts, alcohol abusers, and the like.
I appreciate that he's like sitting here and telling her, now these are things that you wouldn't be able to have because you're a terrible person, but I'm going to tell you about them because you're a terrible person, deserve to know what you're missing.
Yeah, I can appreciate. I mean, this is actually standard practice in courts to go through the reasoning for the sentencing, for the everything, and the judge commonly tears the person to shreds at the end of it. But that one was home confinement, right? Is that what he said? I believe.
Yeah.
I think she requested home confinement, but that's absurd. There would be no reason for home confinement in this case.
For the community service one, she didn't request it, and he said, listen, I know you didn't request it, couldn't have gotten it anyways, but you are terrible, and you won't get that.
Right. Sign up for my Patreon. I'd really appreciate that very much. It would mean so much to me. This is like a really precarious moment in history, in U.S. history, and for me personally, so it would mean a lot if you signed up for my Patreon. Check out cultarchive.org. I did a cult test, basically, where you can see if you're in a cult, and you can look at the historical tests of other groups that already went through this. Also, check out my merch. I have a whole bunch of really cool shirts and stuff. Really interesting. I would really appreciate that.
And prison is for those folks where we send people who are a danger to all of us. Whether it be by the pen or the sword or the word of the mouth. Prison is where folks go, where punishment is what we're focused on, because the crime committed is so significant that anything less would unduly mitigate the seriousness of the same.
I don't actually believe in punitive justice, punishing somebody for their crimes. I believe in, aka retributive justice. I believe in, oh my God, I don't remember the term, but basically trying to rehabilitative justice, trying to get them back on their feet and make sure that they don't commit this kind of crime again. Like, poverty and crime are directly correlated to each other. The less money you have, the poorer you are, the more likely you will be to commit crimes. If we want to lower crime, we fight against poverty. And on occasion, you get people who are just bad people, just scumbags, who need to be removed from society for our own protection. And I guess in those cases, we have no choice, right? And we have to put them in there, and I understand that. But I think that we should always approach every case as though the person can be rehabilitated and set right back on the correct track, if you will. In Tina Peters' case, she was given every opportunity to show some kind of anything, humanity of some sort, all through her case. And it's not happening. She never did it. Even to this day, she's complaining to Steve Bannon and everything else. She's just a bad person in her heart.
I mentioned before, there are no mental health concerns. There's no good reason why you're here, Ms. Peters, other than these are all the active decisions that you made that cost our county significantly, but also, more importantly, cost you greatly, Mr. Wood, all the members of the county who worked and trusted you when you asked them to do things that they did on your behalf. It's part of your lies. The expense, the toll is immeasurable. So putting you on probation when you have zero needs that would be met by probation is the very definition of unduly depreciating the significance of what it is that you've done here, the harm that you've caused our community and continue to cause. Community corrections is the same. So prison is the only place that duly meets the purposes of sentencing in this matter.
I would also like to mention, this isn't like a simple mistake. This isn't, like I didn't see the harm in my action. I didn't know what harm it could cause. She knew what she was doing. She did it purposefully. She knew what harm it was going to cause, thought about it and said, I want to cause this harm. It's not someone getting addicted to something and not being able to get off. It's not someone stealing something and just like for whatever reason. She got a list of names illegally and spread them around illegally. it was harmful and she knew it was harmful and she didn't care.
Yeah, I knew a guy, I guess I'm not going to say his name, but he was an addict and he was a complete mess. He was a bad person in his heart. And I knew this other dude named Mike was there and he threw something at him, like some little stick or something, because they were fighting. He threw a stick at him and it hit his chest and stopped his heart and killed him. That was not intentional. That happened. And he's in prison for the rest of his life, like 40 years as a result of that. That was a mistake that led to something terrible. This person did not make a mistake. She knew what she's doing. She did it intentionally with malice, right?
Yeah.
And therefore, the sentence and judgment of the court is as follows. As to counts 1 and 4, the judgment and sentence of the court is 3.5 years in the Department of Corrections. Those sentences will be concurrent to each other. As to count 2, the judgment and sentence of the court is 3.5 years consecutive to counts 1 and 4. As it relates to the misdemeanor charges, count 8 is 120 days in the Mesa County Detention Facility, concurrent to count 9 and 10, which will be 6 months in the Mesa County Detention Facility, consecutive to the prison sentence. The reason those sentences are consecutive is because those sentences are, as the prosecution stated, directly related to what it is that you did here in our community, the damage you caused this community, the breach of your oath to the electorate in Mesa County.
So anyway, that's Tina Peters. That's her court sentencing. And out of curiosity, I want to see what's going on now with her. Peters is currently incarcerated at the La Vista Correctional Facility, a medium security women's prison in Pueblo, Colorado, serving her 9-year sentence. Medium security is pretty rough. It's not the worst. She's transferred from county jail to state prison in May 2025. Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. After completing her 6-month county jail portion of the sentence. Peters has filed a federal habeas corpus petition arguing she should be released on bond while she appeals her conviction. Oh, please. Her attorney, Peter Tickton, a Florida constitutional lawyer who helped lobby for pardons for January 6 participants, is arguing that she's being held because of fear of what she might say, a First Amendment violation. Oh, please. She knows Steve Bannon and she knows all kinds of people. She could say whatever she wants right now. She wanted. I mean, they have a phone. They have a phone at the jail that you can call and talk if you want. It's such a joke, dude. Here's Trump's involvement. Trump has repeatedly demanded Peters' release, calling her a brave and innocent patriot, and directing the Department of Justice to take all necessary action to help secure the release of Peters, whom he's called a hostage. Trump posted in August 2025 demanding Colorado release Peters right now, all caps, exclamation mark, threatening to take harsh measures if she isn't released. That's just a few months ago. The Department of Justice has filed a statement of interest saying Peters' prosecution will be investigated for abuses of the criminal justice process. Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser responded that Peters is in prison because she's a flight risk and a danger to the community, stating the question is not whether the state court decision was correct, but whether it was objectively unreasonable. She remains defiant and unapologetic about her actions while behind bars. So that's the Peters case. I don't believe there's any way she's getting out of there anytime soon. So yeah, tell me what you think about it in the comments. I love this judge, dude. Barrett, he's awesome.